What's poppin', peeps? Welcome back to the Peep Lounge, where today our guest is somewhat of, I would say, a nerdcore, almost like a nerdcore veteran. He's been around the game for quite a while now. He's an artist, he's a creator, and most recently he started his own little project called Nerdivation, which we'll get into a little bit later. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Cooper, the Mark Cooper.
Pleasure. How are you?
What's poppin', Mark? What's poppin'? How are you doing today, my good sir?
Good, man. Another day in paradise. You know the game.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. So like I said, you kind of been around the nerdcore game for quite a while. You've been around longer than a lot of people. So I always kind of start these off kind of like the same way. I like to for the people at home who aren't aware, I like to get people's like origin stories of how they got into the community to begin with. So would you like to tell us like how you got into music and then how you just ended up in like the nerdcore community as like a whole?
Yeah, sure. No problem at all. I'll just go, chronological order. It makes more sense.
Yeah, of course.
I started, long story short, I started music when I was 14.
Yeah.
My dad got me a keyboard for my 14th birthday.
Okay.
And I was doing a little bit of that. And then in middle school, you get into poetry and be like, oh, words that rhyme. Well, that's pretty cool. And then you get into that kind of aspect of it later on, one, two, skip a few, you start rapping in high school. You rap about things obviously you don't do because that's what's cool at the time. But, it's something that I've always been dabbled into as a producer and as an artist as well.
Yep.
And the reason why I got heavier into production is because I couldn't figure out necessarily how to buy beats at the time. This is the time where it was not YouTube aspects. There were SoundClick, and some people remember it, some people don't. Just depends on where you are.
Yeah.
And that's the MySpace days and all those things. You're just trying to get your foot in, mid 2005, 2006, trying to get that all together.
Of course.
I got into learning about the gaming portion, and one person that I met through this community before everything was JT Music. I knew him as Skull Cruncher 13 back in 2009.
Damn.
He came out with the greatest ever. So, I reached out to him one time on YouTube, and then we did a track together. And this is the JT Machinima era. Shout out to them when it comes to that. And I just learned about people doing video game raps and stuff on YouTube and things, but I didn't know about a whole entire community until about 2015. When I first got introduced to Mega Ran at a show at the first con I've ever been to.
Yep.
And then ever since that particularly happened, 10 years later in the future, I've been a part of the community. So, it's kind of been a roller coaster ride of, getting into nerddom personally.
Hell yeah. And you mentioned some other OGs like JT back in the Machinima days, which is crazy. That was such a long time ago now, it feels like. And obviously Mega Ran, shout out to Mega Ran too, another absolute legend of the community. But that's just crazy because it's just like people don't realize, like, yes, like nerdcore is kind of like has been becoming more and more popular as the years go by, and it seems to pick up more and more eyes by the year. But I don't think a lot of people realize how far back it really goes. Because like I mentioned this in like a previous Peep Lounge, that I must have been listening to stuff that was like nerdcore that I didn't even realize was technically like nerdcore, or like there was like a whole community behind it way back when, and I was just completely oblivious. I was listening to just like this one Call of Duty site. I think the very first thing on Nerdcore was like a nerd out Call of Duty cipher. It was like a Black Ops 3 cipher, and I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was just, somebody just made this cool song or whatever. I didn't realize there was like a whole community of people, and this was like a whole thing. And so it's just been around for such a long time.
It gets deeper than that, man. This year is 25 years of nerdcore. The actual
really
term.
25?
This year's 25. Yep.
Really?
When MC Frontalot coined the term in 2000 and called it nerdcore hip hop. Yes.
I actually had no idea of that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So 25. Yeah. So when we did South by Southwest this year, it was 25 years of nerdcore on that.
Oh, now that you mentioned it, I think I remember seeing. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that. So that's crazy. So there might be some people watching this. Nerdcore is older than you guys, which is absolutely just mind-boggling to think about. But obviously, like you said, you're an artist, you're a producer. But you also kind of just and what some people might know you as is you kind of like also act as like almost like a mentor of some sort, like where you react to some to artists within the community and give genuine like feedback. And it's not like your normal reaction where you're reacting to music. Like you give them genuine like tips and advice on how to improve, and not only just the music aspect, but just moving forward on trying to like if they want to make this into a further career as well and make a living off of that. Was that something that you always wanted to do with the platform? Is like give back to those people who might be on the come up or looking for said advice?
Absolutely. Actually, when I made the stream for the Mark Cooper Monday, originally I was just giving artists advice, just in general, as in like, learning how to copyright stuff, learning ways that you can be able to improve your mixing and all those things.
Yeah.
And then it came to a situation where, I was looking out there and I was seeing, different people give reviews and things like that. And then I would hear people that be like, oh, yeah, it was dope. Just keep doing your thing. And then you find out those individuals actually charged them for that kind of feedback.
Really? People were charging?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, people were charging for, hey, just keep doing your thing. And then, people just have to realize that if you're in the community and you've been there for years and you've been around and seen all different kinds of things, it's best to be that kind of leader for a generation or for a culture to grow. Somebody has to stick and be able to, educate and be able to let people be aware of what's available out there. Because sometimes people don't realize that in this era, a lot of artists are developing or coming from the internet portion. They're not going through the fundamental process of going to a studio and paying for studio time and, that artist saving up and buying beats and, you know what I mean? A lot of the stuff they can do in their very own home now.
Yeah, true.
And because of that, there are many different things that get skipped because of it. So certain steps like, learning how to do a show, building a fan base face to face, understanding what your content audience is, your demographic, all those things don't get 100% of the value because there were certain things that you skipped because of the internet phase. So it's hard for you to be able to fully gauge where you are as an artist. And especially with numbers and algorithms and things like that, like that's just intangible data. You have data that you can be able to have an idea. You'll have a clairvoyance in Skyrim to be able to walk through the footsteps and see the clouds or whatever. But it's not going to tell you that that's where the sword is. It's not going to tell you where the dragon is. It's not going to, give you the new shout for the dragon board. You feel what I'm saying? It only gives you just enough for you to walk forward, but you don't even know what you're walking into. And the next thing you know, you hit a brick wall and you don't know how to back foot from it.
Yep. And that's one of the cool things, because as most people in the community they're all independent artists. They don't have all these tools accessible to them. So being able to rely on somebody like a Mark Cooper, or maybe there's other people who act as like or are open to give advice and help people out with with their music or marketing or branding themselves or whatever. Like I do what I can, but I can't provide the like personal experience or anything like that because I haven't been in those shoes like you have. So being able to have that just at your fingertips, and that's the one thing I've always respected the most about you, is that you don't like you give genuine feedback. And you genuinely you seem like you genuinely care. Like every artist that comes your way that wants feedback or advice or tips or tricks, you do you're respectful about it. Like, oh hey, if there's some things that you need to work on, you tell like, oh hey, you could probably work on this like, because I know some people can be kind of like hard-headed and stuff like that when receiving criticisms and stuff like that, but you give it out in like a respectful way and you tell people how to improve. And that's one thing I've always respected and one thing I always like about watching your content and watching you review and give these people advice, because not only is it something that I look like I try to help out, but it's just a breath of fresh air, it seems like, in the community, because not everybody, especially like the smaller artists, have those tools at that disposal. So that they have somebody like you who can kind of steer them in the right direction, not like give them the exact formula, but just give them that little nudge that they can, okay, here's the first step you got to do. What you do after that, that's like, you give them just enough. You give them just enough is what I'm saying, where they can still go on their own journey, but you just give them the tidbits that they need. And I respect that about you. I respect that about you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I like to be the dangerous to go alone, take this individual, you know?
Yep. And that's initially how I found you, is because of the Mark Cooper Mondays. And if you're an artist out there who and you guys don't, for some reason, don't know about Mark Cooper, and you're looking, and you want to submit a song for him, maybe him to check out and potentially give you some sort of advice or anything like that, Mark Cooper Mondays, or I guess 99.9% of Mondays, you can expect him to be live collecting links on social media. Go check out his stream, man. I bet that Mark Cooper will be willing to help you out any way, shape or form. But it just seems like, one thing I like about you is that you bring so much. Like I said, you're an artist, producer. You give people advice on their music, and just the overall, just everything that comes with the music scene. And also, I mentioned this at the beginning too. You recently created this thing called Nerdivation, and I was curious. I wanted to pick your brain about this, and this is probably what the most of the Peep Lounge is going to be about, because I wanted to pick your brain a lot about this, try to get more information about it. But I know you're hosting like a showcase around NPC time, in the same city as in Dallas, whatever, and have a lot of talented artists a part of that showcase. But what essentially is Nerdivation? Like at its core, is what does it bring to the table?
Well, Nerdivation is actually a branding of mine that I have, is that showing that, think of the compound word of nerd and motivated. Mm-hmm. Nerdivated meaning you're motivated, but in the nerd sense, as in you're trying to find everything else about it. You're trying to constantly learn, trying to improve, the best you. And that's just being nerdivated. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the platform is really for individuals to have that situation of, the whole cliche of, to get a job, you need experience. But if you never had the experience, you can't get the job. And we see that particular, that particular language said in everything in life here. So by looking at what I would, actually backtrack when I was saying about the internet aspect, not a lot of people really know the experience of being able to perform perform on stage and learn those particular elements and learning those different foundations. And then that's where, this comes in, where I actually give those kind of, footsteps for individuals to be like, hey, I make great music and stuff, but I never really performed before. And they want to be able to expand as artists, because at the end of the day, the internet's a wild, wild west. Like anything could change within a New York minute, like Toei Animation and all of them could be like, look, you're not allowed to use our content for your AMVs anymore. And they could shut down your account. They could, do all those kind of things, because that's still their IP. And technically you never really asked them for it.
True.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's like many different elements that could be roadblocks in your growth.
True.
So the best way of doing that is being able to be like, hey, I know that, a lot of you are trying to build and grow and be seen more in Nerdcore and grow up, or, not grow up, but like,
get that experience,
the fan bases and things like that. But there isn't anybody to be like, hey, I want to see what you got.
True.
And not see what you got because I want to make it look like I'm helping others. Like, so in other words, not to make that example, but like how you'll see a video of an individual that's helping somebody who's homeless, but they literally made that video just for content to show that they did something humanitarian. I'm doing it in like an integrity ways. You know what I mean? Not when everybody's looking. It's one of those, hey, you know, I know you got great talent. I want to see what you can do.
Yeah, of course.
And then, so that's kind of the element of, you know, Nerdivation on that portion of it.
Yeah.
And it's actually more than that. Like there's some things I can't necessarily 100% discuss just yet.
Okay.
But there's something big happening with this platform that a lot of people don't know what I'm about to do next. But but to talk about it, we have a showcase in July. You know, it's a lot of our community and peers are going to be there as well, including for NPC. And just by having everybody in the community as a whole, not even just NPC with the greats there, but also show the new generation who's coming up and who's actually can do some things too. And then it also gives them that ability to be able to show like, hey, I did a show. And then they also get a chance to even engage with fans that they never knew they had. Because keep in mind, I mean, there are some individuals that are showing up for this, but they might not know about JK performing. They may not know about Yellow Blade. They may not know about Prowse the Testament or Tempin Music and all those artists that may have done features with them that you never thought you would ever see before. Just like any kind of Comic-Con, like you see an individual that never comes out, people are going to want to engage and see what that's about because they can be around that experience. On top of that, it's a whole bunch of them that never met each other in person before.
That's true. It's just like it's so everybody's so online that people just the personal connection,
and they get the ability to perform these songs together and have those memories.
True, that's
because the thing.
So many good aspects.
That's the thing about Nerdcore and everything in general. It's about nostalgia and creating memories here. You're making songs about things that you grew up with or you enjoy or fandoms that you were at a certain place in time. Some people have it touch deeper than others. So why not have an opportunity for that so it can show people can be able to grow, because it will get to the point where it will age out and then there'll be a gap of great performances than beginner performances. You can't really do a rich class and a beginner class and then just completely get rid of the middleman or the middle class gap.
True.
It's in this genre too, just like in anything else. I'm just the person that brings that together so people can grow and maybe have the blessing to be in that higher location, or the individuals who are just trying on their come up to get to the middle so they can be satisfied with what they're doing with their fan bases and career. I mean, the possibilities are endless. I mean, whatever your journey is and how hard you work is what matters at the end of the day. But at the end of period, there has to be some kind of middle ground and foundational start and position for people to have that opportunity. And then, after sitting around and thinking about the kind of things, like if you want the change, you got to be the change. And that's what I did.
Hell yeah, dude. And that's the one thing, because I remember when it got first announced that there was going to be like this Nerdivation showcase, that was one of the first things that came into my mind. It was just like, it'll be like a good platform, almost like and I don't mean this like in a derogatory way, but just like a good like starting point for a lot of artists, because I'm assuming for a lot of people who want to have that experience and want the ability to perform, the end goal for a lot of people within the community is a stage like NPC and like big stages like that where they got, and you're not gonna just. And again, I don't mean this in a bad way, but you're not going to be an artist whose first performance is going to be at an NPC. Like the odds of that, they want people who have previous experience, performance experience, and they want to know that you'll be a good live performer. And I know a lot of people were just like, "Oh, I don't have the opportunity to live perform." And where I'm at, and that might be the case for some people. Some people, they have I know there's like a huge live scene down in like Florida, whatever. I know a lot of people perform down in Florida a lot, but some people might not have that ability to perform. So having a place like this where they can perform and, like you said, like have that ability, get that experience, get the reps, and just get comfortable enough where, oh hey, sometime down the line, if God willing, one day that they earn the opportunity to be able to perform at an NPC or their ideal stage that they want to perform in, maybe their own headlining shows like a Mega Ran. Shout out Mega Ran too, he tremendous artist. But there'll be prepared for that, and that's one thing that I really really like. And as you were like kind of like explaining all the little tidbits of nerdivation and everything behind it, it just I can't it's just there's just it helps out so much because and I hate to single this person out, but Red Rob. Shout out Red Rob. He's actually gonna be performing at the Nerdivation showcase, so I can't wait to. I know there's gonna be. I can't. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be there. Unfortunately, but I hope to see like videos of these guys all performing live because I would love it. There'll be videos. But you were saying that these people get to meet fans that they probably didn't even realize that they had and whatnot, and maybe never met before. Red Rob has always told me, he's like, he doesn't always think he has that many fans or anything like that, and yada yada. I'm just like, dude, you got a lot more fans than you realize you have. Hell, I go to work and there's people, I've heard people talk about Red Rob, and he's just he gets so dumbfounded by it every single time, and I'm just like, dude, no, like you just don't realize the reach that you truly have with your features and your music and stuff like that. So I feel like with a lot of these artists, with people like JK, all the Hydra Goons, Yellow Blade, Temple Music, all the people who are involved in this, they don't realize truly like how big of a person, like how much of a fan base these guys have all cultivated. And being able to see all that might be that extra motivation to like, oh, this is super dope. This is gonna make me work 10 times harder. So there's just so many positive factors that come out of this that I can only imagine. Like I can only see it be doing positive things going forward. So I'm super excited to see where this goes. In the future, and all the cool stuff that you kind of got lined up. And I know you said you got some things that you can't mention and stuff like that, or like in behind the scenes and stuff like that. But it's just so fulfilling to see, or relieved to see, I should say, to see like there's somebody out there who's given these opportunities to some of these people who might not have had the opportunities beforehand, and given them this how long has have you been working on this behind it? Was this something that's been in the works for such a long time, like or is this just something that's just like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm like spur of the moment. Like obviously, I'm pretty sure you probably had it planned for some time. But how long did it take you to finally be able to like pull this off?
Well, to be honest, to pull it off, it didn't take long. I'll be honest.
Okay.
The reason why is because in the background, I also do booking for Comic-Cons and things like that. So I've always been in that part of the scene for about maybe 7 or 8 years.
Oh, okay.
So I've been doing hosting shows and things like that in Detroit and various other places.
Yep.
So I kind of already had some, experience in that.
Yep.
But I wanted to, once the pandemic happened, I wanted to see exactly what the tide would be, because this is where everything shook. Like, Nerdcore in the internet space like quadrupled in the amount of artists in the past 5 years.
Oh, absolutely. It
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because of that, there is going to be a point where people are like, hey, I'm not getting the same looks I was getting before this. Especially if they're like already partner and they already got like, at least 30K subscribers or more in that. They're not getting the reach that they used to get because there's so many individuals that are doing stuff at the same time.
Yep.
And, arguably the newer individuals that come out here seem a little bit more hungrier than the vets in some way, form, or fashion.
I agree.
And I don't mean as in necessarily in quality, but I'm just talking about inconsistencies in releases. And that's where, they, the tide has changed, because now it's like, either you're going to get something speedy fast or you're going to get a home cooked meal. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
At the end of the day, you're going to get your content like a McDonald's or something like that. It's going to do what it needs to do. But if you're a person that's maybe a more gourmet restaurant of quality kind of thing, you're not going to get as many or fast as the other ones.
True.
So sometimes people will take fan service and want it in a fast food setting. But then it gets to the point where it blends of they want high quality stuff at a fast food rate.
Yeah.
And that is where, that's where the bargaining line, starts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just going to be about who could do what at what time, at what situation, right place, right time.
Absolutely. And
right.
That's one thing that's just like Nerdcore fans are, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. They're very spoiled because like you said, we get drops from artists depending on who you are, once a month, bi-weekly, some people weekly, like tri-weekly, whatever. They get they intake so much content, and a lot of it's, like I said, high decent to high quality to music. And so it's just like, oh, when an artist decides, oh, hey, I'm gonna go from bi-weekly to dropping a song a month, it's just like the whole world just like stops because they'll be like, oh no, I miss having 2 weeks. And I'm just like, man, like I can't imagine being like a mainstream musician dropping a song every 2 weeks, and doing that on such a consistent basis as a lot of these nerdcore artists are. And that just goes to show too, like the drive and the motivation that these guys have, nerdivated, that these guys have towards the music, whether you're a bigger or smaller artist, that they're so passionate and motivated with their craft that they are some of them are becoming madmen, because you got people who produce their music, obviously perform it, they some people engineer it, they promote it to like crazy, they do all this stuff behind, like some people can make short form content behind it, and it's just like you just sit there and wonder, like, what the hell, like how are these guys doing this? Like, these guys are absolute madmen. Like these guys must get no sleep or anything like that. But no, man, that's just, some people are just really dedicated, and they and love the music and love everything that comes with the process, and everything that comes with the music making. So I just love seeing it because I surround myself with a lot of people that are like motivated. So, and it like kind of rubs off on me almost. And that's why I kind of feel like I'm turning into a madman with content and stuff like that, because I see all these people around me doing all the crazy stuff as well. I probably should slow down, I'm not gonna lie. But hey, that's for another time. But it's just so fulfilling to see all these talented artists. But I will. Another question too is, I know there, because like I said, we talked about you kind of like are a mentor towards a lot of like smaller and like medium-sized artists in the community, and I wanted to ask and kind of give them a little like spotlight for a second. But is there anything, because even though I highlight some small and like medium-sized artists as well, I definitely don't do it to the extent that you do. So what is something for people at home who might not know, or maybe they're on the, like, they know some, but they don't know all of them. What is something that these smaller and medium-sized artists can bring to the table, or something different that they might not be used to with, say, a bigger artist, or like a more well-known person in the community? Because like you said, a lot of them are hungry. They seem hungry. But in terms of like quality or like styles or whatever, what can people expect that's different for the people who might be curious?
Well, there's actually a couple things. I'll just kind of, limit it to a couple just to make it a little bit easier. I could really go all day.
Yeah, of course.
One thing will be the foundational growth. And what I mean by that is that there'll be points where they'll, go ahead and do the drill and the boom bap and the double time and all those things that we normally hear from that.
Yep.
But there is a certain point in time where that artist is going to come out with a song that's nothing like they've ever done before.
True.
Because they were caught in the moment, in the element of it. And because of that, you will hear something completely different. Like for Red Rob, for example, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like just the types of songs that he's doing today is variously different than what he was doing last year or the year before.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the cool thing about it, that because of the fact that they're growing, and then you get the Hydra Goons as well. Each and every one of them has leveled up their form of, okay, this is what I'm known to start off doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something different. And it's not even just about the songs, it's about the concepts that lead up to the song. You know what I mean? All Time is doing Ultraman things. You got Sammy that did stuff for Transformers. You got Pure Chaos that adapted the aspect of being, Shadow the Hedgehog, but rapping in his particular tone of voice. That's different. That makes him, like original where it comes to that. JK with layering harmonies and doing covers. I mean, like, just to name a few, like Tempin' Music is doing like Broadway covers and doing that every single week where it comes to that. Like, fundamental growth is something that understanding that you're able to hear them grow as an artist versus a situation where you're already there and they're like, you know what I'm here for.
True.
You can be versatile all you want to. I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
I followed you because you do One Piece songs. You know what I'm saying? I followed you because you do rock records. I followed you for that. And then that's where people get in this rock and a hard place when it comes to growing at that particular level, because now you're full-time.
Yep.
So it's not about 100% whether if this is a record you feel like or not. This is so you could be able to feed what your particular algorithm table is.
Yep.
And then after stressing out about that, then you might want to do a separate song. But because of how the train is with bi-weekly, weekly, monthly, whatever your schedule is, you have to keep on schedule.
Yep.
And it's literally an assembly line type situation. And then that's where a lot of the, I'm not saying the originality, because, there is a skill to continuously put out consistent records that are at that quality. Yeah. Now there's a skill and they're very great at it. So this isn't like their music is dry or anything like that at all. There's a skill in that.
Of course.
And because there's a skill in that, that's how they perform very well at what they're doing. Absolutely. They know what it takes, what they need to do to move, what they need to do to collab, what their SEO needs to be, what kind of video quality, you know what I mean? They know how to do those things. So the reason why the medium and lower can give you fundamental growth is because they don't have those. So they have to shoot anything at the wall.
They have the room to experiment and try to figure, like, to get to that point where they want to get to that full-time point. They got that time to experiment and figure out what's going to get them there.
Right. And not only that, they get the chance to experiment what their quality is supposed to be. Some of them get that one song and they take off, but they can't match the quality of that. Kind of like, 50 Cent Get Rich Die Trying. One of those his greatest album ever.
True.
The Massacre did okay, but it wasn't Get Rich or Die Trying. You run into plateaus like that.
Yep. And I know, because I've heard, obviously me being as chronically online as I am most times, I hear people like, oh, like, I wish like this person would make that, like, and referring to like some sort of bigger artist would make this type of song, or I liked when this person made a song that are the types of songs that they made X amount of years back and whatnot. But I feel like a lot of people don't look at it from like the full-time job aspect, where it's just like, you got to realize too, like, this is what brought them like to the position that they're in, and it's what it's working. It's what they know. It's almost like, if it's not broken, don't fix it type of thing. That I feel like it's just like, yeah, you might want this person to go back to doing what they used to do, or it might be coming a little bit dry for you now and whatever. And everybody's music taste changes over time. That's perfectly acceptable. But I feel like a lot of people don't realize that like a DPS, a Fable, a Rustage, like all these people, full-time people Like they do this full time, so they got to do what they can to be able to sustain that. And that's one of the things too, because I like people like a Suyo, a Rob, a Shinky, all these different artists that every single song it could be a completely different vibe or a different genre or tap into a different bag. And I like being able to like, okay, what kind of song are we gonna get this time? Like that anticipation, and that's kind of like what I enjoy the most about some of like the medium to smaller artists is that I can go in with little expectations and be like, okay, well, this is what I'm expecting, and could be completely just blown out of the water from it. And I, as much as I love like, oh hey, like DPS for example, I know what I'm getting with the DPS. Like it doesn't take away from the quality and this like and all that stuff. It's still good music, but it's just like, okay, this is DPS. Yeah. I know what I'm getting with the DPS. But Suya, he could tap in R&B one week, heavy one another week. It's a different style every week, and that me being the person who's just like my ADHD is constantly running and I need something new and I like different styles and sounds and stuff like that. I'm just a fan of music. I like that, and that's why I've kind of felt in love with a lot of like those smaller and medium artists because of that, because I just like being able to like, oh hey, like I want to hear Red Rob like R&B, Red Rob pop, Red Rob theatrical, and it's just like I can, whatever mood I'm in, they probably have made music for it, and so I love the fact that I can get that with a lot of like the smaller and medium-sized artists. So shout out to all you guys. For anybody who's watching this, I know there's probably gonna be quite a few people who are watching this, looking to get advice from Mark Cooper. So shout out to you guys. You guys do not go unnoticed. We appreciate you guys, and all those people. Make sure you guys check out Nerdivation when it comes out. If you guys are gonna be in the Dallas area for NPC, make sure you guys check out Nerdivation and check all these guys out. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Like if even if it's just like, oh, I don't know a lot of these guys, or I don't know what's the worst that can happen? Like, you probably come across one or two artists that you didn't know before that you really rock with their music, and that's all that somebody like a Mark Cooper who's putting it together could ask for. Like you find these guys and you give these guys a shot, and you give it a chance. Because I know Mark is taking a big risk, trying to do something new, something different, and bring something new to the table, and hopefully going, like I said, it continues year to year, or I don't know how frequently of the thing this is going to be, but this can go on for many years to come, and it can continue to be like a stepping ground, proving ground to a lot of these beginning intermediate artists, as a way to kind of get them that experience that they need. And so big ups to Mark Cooper, and big ups to all the artists out there who are watching this and who are doing their stuff, absolutely doing their stuff. But Mark, I took to Twitter, and I received a couple of questions, as I do for every single one of these Peep Lounges.
No way. People got questions for me.
Believe it or not, people have questions for you, man. People have questions for you. It's not. I have a couple here. Some of them, I apologize in advance.
I ain't worried about that, man.
Some
it's all about fun.
Yeah, of course. Because I have people who. Well, there's gonna be a certain person in here that I have to apologize for, because they're always just try to provide me with the absolute just most random stuff to ask people, and I always feel like I have to give a warning in advance. But I got a couple questions here from certain people that we can go through. The first one is going to be from LTS Gyro. I hate that guy. No, I'm kidding. This is a joke for people out there. I don't actually hate him. It's just a bit. But he asks, who inspired you to make music?
Oh man.
If you had to narrow it down.
You said what?
I said if you had to narrow it down, who inspired the king?
Well, to be honest with you, man, like inspired me to make music as in like for I was always, believe it or not, like a Saturday morning cartoon, a movie score kind of guy.
Okay.
I've always liked the feeling that they give you when it comes to music stuff, like inspiration. Like you think of, like from Michael Jackson to M to Daft Punk to uh
Absolute legends.
yeah, like like things, any kind of artist that was able to convey a message to you,
Yep.
in the most impactful way that you could.
So pretty much people who can spread a message, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And shout out to Gyro too. Like I said, we love Gyro around these parts. This next one, this was one I have to apologize for. This one comes from Red Rob, and
Yes.
this one I'm gonna need you to check your Discord. This one comes in the form of a photo.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna need you to check your Discord. And I apologize in advance. I field all and any questions. So, and I'm not gonna lie, Rob sends this photo to like everybody that we do Peep Lounges with.
That means a lot.
So we need to get the answers. I'll put this on the screen for the people at home. You guys aren't gonna see it until I post it. But what do you think?
What do I think of your dog, bro? I can say
I'm so sorry.
I can say that his dog is very bright.
I'm so sorry.
No, you are okay. That is. I love animals, so it works out just fine. That's why Nerdivation's logo is an owl.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna ask about that too. I completely forgot. Like, what? Why?
Well,
why
think
an
about
owl?
the phrase? The phrase is "Who's nerdivated?" Get it?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I get it now. Who's nerd? If I don't hear that said multiple times at the little showcase, L marketing. No, I'm kidding. But and this next one, again, a completely random one. I apologize in advance. This person's a frequent question asker on the Peep Lounge. Shout out to Luckmeister. We appreciate you. I appreciate you showing love constantly to the Peep Lounge. But this one says, I have a question, Mr. Mark Cooper, if that is your real name.
It might be.
It could be. It couldn't be. The world may never know. It's like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? He said, I don't know if I'll be able to get this out with a straight face. How much of a plane, if many, if you're going all in, could you eat in one sitting?
Like eat an actual plane?
Apparently. He asks the most random questions. Like, I don't know where he pulls them from. If he has like a random question generator or what. But he said, how much of a plane?
I would eat a plane, but right now I'm on a light flight, so I don't know how many I could eat.
he's more of like I don't know what the exact planes are called, but like those ones with like that can float on the water or whatever. Those little miniature planes or whatever. One of those kind. Well,
of planes. Don't forget there used to be those little airplane gummies back in the day.
Airplane gummies.
Yeah, kind of like how they had the shark gummies that you get from the gas station.
Oh, really? I didn't realize they had stuff. Damn, they had gummies of everything.
Yeah, man.
I recently found out that Shaq had his own gummies, and they're literally Shaq's face. Oh, you don't like those? No?
James Harden had some too.
Oh, I didn't realize James Harden had it. I just keep seeing
Shaq. The beard and yeah.
I just keep seeing Shaq's face all over, and I see these.
Well, Shaq owned like 5 or 15 or 20 franchises.
Wait, oh yeah, I guess he is kind of a businessman, but it's just like, why? Like, he's a basketball player. What made him go into wanting his own gummy stuff? Completely beyond me.
What's crazy about it is that there's so many different sports stars have been doing that. You know, like Mike Tyson has his own gummies in the, you know, in the CBT world,
Yeah.
the CBD world. Yep. Snoop Dogg has a cookbook with Martha Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing, the most hilarious part is you see the picture and it say one of them is a convict.
I think I remember seeing that.
You know Martha Stewart.
I think for some reason I remember seeing that because and kind of laughing a little bit, but yeah. Oh shoot, I don't know why, but your camera in Discord. Oh wait, that's just me. Never mind, I'm tripping. For some reason, cameras are tripping out on my screen in Discord, and so I'm just gonna play it out like I didn't just see any of that. But for some reason they're perfectly fine in OBS, but they're glitching out heavy on my monitor right now. So I don't know what the hell's going on there. So I'm just gonna pretend like I don't see them. Mr. Mark Cooper, another, and this will be kind of considered the last big question, or the last question that I had cooked up for you. So obviously you're a musical artist and you've been making music for, God, how long have you been making music now? You said since you were 14, or you've been getting music since you were 14?
I'd say about 20 years.
Damn.
Maybe.
Damn.
Maybe about 20 years.
That's like 3/4 that's like 2/4 of my life right there, man. Damn.
Yeah, I've been making this since like I was like 17, 18. And then you know, I have another birthday in a couple days.
Damn. So I just want you guys to realize before I ask this question, just know this man's been making music probably a lot longer than you've been alive, because nerdcore musicians just be young as hell nowadays. I swear to God. Good on them too, because hey, they're starting early or whatever. So by the time they get to like my age and your age, they'll be perfect. So the last question I wanted to ask is you've dropped so much music, past and recently, and most recently the Orange tapes, right? I was actually a big fan of the Orange tape. Actually, for the people who aren't aware, I host a Nerdcore award show that the Orange tape was nominated for album or project of the year. Just because I was just a big fan of it, and I wanted to ask. I know it was like Nickelodeon themed and whatnot. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you do things with Nickelodeon? Aren't you like something to do with like Power Rangers or something like that? Oh
yeah, I do various things. Like, you know, sometimes
I was gonna say you got all these side quests.
Yeah, you know, but the thing is, what's cool about these side quests, they all go to the main mission at the end of the day. Sometimes, you know, just like if you're playing Warzone, bro, I'll loot the entire city or whatever and grab all the things I need to get to the next spot before the gas comes. You know what I mean? That's probably like the best analogy I can think of.
But it's just like, how do you come across is it just because of like experience? Or like, do you like personally like reach out to these people? Do they reach out to you? Like, how do you come across? Because like I said, I feel like every single time I look on social media and I see that you post, you were always doing something cool and kind of like your own little side quest, and whether it was like the Power Rangers thing or doing this other cool, like you're always doing like these cool side quests, and I was always been curious, just like, how do you make this kind of stuff happen? Do they just do you just let fate decide and it just kind of just, oh hey, they just drop right at your feet? Or like, what is your process of making these little side quests come to life?
Well, to be honest with you, bro, as crazy as it sounds, you know, like nerdcore and music and things like that is about nostalgia, right? So it's good that you make music about those things, but sometimes you want to go and reach for the things that you always wanted to do. You know what I mean? When it
I was going to say, like,
me doing voice acting to, you know, the Guinness World Record thing.
There's so much.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the Nickelodeon album itself was a Kickstarter because it was for the 45 years of Nickelodeon.
Yep.
And I had some various individuals that were involved with Nickelodeon that wanted to be involved in the project because they felt that, you know, they don't get, you know, it doesn't give enough love for the ones that's from the 80s and the 90s anymore. You know, a lot of people just think, you know, Nickelodeon is just, you know, SpongeBob or, you know, Henry Danger or just, you know, various small things.
Yep.
So by being able to give people their flowers while they're still here was the ideal thing.
I love that.
And then with part 2, you know, made it in its whole storyline where it's like, you know, saving voice actors from becoming AI clones.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's just things I've always done. Like, well, my music, you know, I always like to do a storyline. Like the Player One series, I wrote about Nerdcore. Like the whole premise is being trapped in a game called Nerdcore, and the villain major label traps all the nerds in the game. So they don't expand. They just kind of stay in this crab in a barrel mentality, thinking that their music can only be here in this only surface level. And the only way you could reach the ceiling would be those bigger YouTube individuals doing a collaboration with you. And then maybe you have an opportunity to be able to see what that ceiling looks like.
Yeah.
So that's what I was, you know, that's what I was doing. And then it got to the point where it's like, look, you know, I'm going to go for those things I always wanted to do in life. You know, a casting call came for a Power Rangers thing, went for it and, you know, was able to do it. Originally, I was put as a Blue Ranger for another series called Power Rangers Cosmos. But the thing is with that, they have that adaptation after this. So they say, hey, you know, we also have an opening for a Green Ranger because we decided to recast. We feel like this would be your realm. And then that's, you know, becoming a Green Elephant Ranger. And then what's cool is that I get an Elephant Zord, and then guess it, I get an Owl Zord as well.
And it's just like I feel like every kid growing up thought about how cool it would be to be a Power Ranger, and it's just like, it's just cool that to see that there's somebody like, oh hey, like you get to live out every childhood dream. Anybody who's ever grew up watching Power Rangers, oh, you get to be a Power Ranger. You get to do like these voice acting stuff. You get to do all, like, it's like every nerd, childhood nerd growing up, you're like living the dream. And that's what I just thought was so cool, is just like you get to do all this cool stuff that a lot of people growing up could have just imagined, like we all just imagined as kids. And that's one of the cool things, like you said, about Nerdcore and what we do. It just, it opens that door. And the one thing that you kind of just brought up just now is that you kind of like have like a story, like a storyline with your music, especially like maybe your projects. That's the one thing that I enjoy. You tell like an overarching, like, yeah, each song is kind of like its own like standalone thing, but each thing has like its own, like, it's like pretty much an album is like your story, and each song is just a chapter in said story. And like you said, like the Player One series, which I'm not familiar with, I'm gonna have to check that out, was like the whole main straight, like the label stuff or whatever. And I obviously, you just explained it now, I kind of get like the gist of what you were kind of going for. But it's just I like that concept of music, of just like trying to tell like an overarching real life story that some people maybe within the community and Nerdcore deal with or will deal with or have dealt with, etc., etc., etc. And I just really like the concept of storytelling, and I just enjoy that with my music. So to see people like yourself doing stuff like that is huge. And I just love seeing people just succeeding out there. And it's just like you with your music, you with all these little side quests that you do. It warms my heart. And it's just like, I hope some people look at some of the stuff that Mark does and all these other artists do, like a Mega Ran, who's out there touring and performing all the time. Same thing with like a Shao Do. People who people who run NPC, Mark Cooper doing Nerdivation. Like, you could do a lot. Like, you don't have to just be a musician. And like, yeah, obviously, like if that's your bread and butter, obviously, but like that it could open so many doors for you down the line. So don't be afraid to like take these risks at the end of the day, and take those opportunities. Do the thing. Even if it's like, oh hey, like they say no, that you reach out to an opportunity, they say no. That's cool. Right. Keep reaching out, whatever, because the worst that they can do is tell you no, right? Eventually somebody's gonna say yes. So that's the overarching story of that, and I just love hearing Mark Cooper's story and just hearing all the stuff that he's done and he gets to do, and just how much of a blessing he is to the community. So if you guys aren't tapped in with Mark, I highly recommend you guys either check out his music, check out his streams where he's reviewing and giving advice to artists. Follow him on social medias, because like I said, you'll always see him doing something. Go to Nerdivation, check out the music showcase, check out all the artists a part of that. Just go support everything that he does. 'Cause I feel Mark Cooper is one of those people that we need to and I say this, and I don't mean to like give you a big head when I say this, but he's one of the people that we need to protect within this community. So make sure you guys go show Mark the love that he deserves. And with that, Mark, that's kind of like all I have for you for this Peep Lounge. What I like to do to send people off is, for the people at home who, like I said, aren't familiar with you, tell the people at home where to find you, any future things you got cooked up that you want people to know about, future stuff. Maybe you got a song, maybe you got a project, whatever, blah, blah, blah. The stage is yours. Tell the people at home where to find you and what they can look forward to.
Oh, absolutely, man. You can find me anywhere. It's Mark Cooper. That's ITSMARKCOOPER. And you follow, you'll be a superstar.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I got a lot of different things kind of, sprinkled in there. Just, like I just came out with the double album for the Orange Tapes. You can be able to check those things out. May have some things brewing. I've been working with artists like Prowse to Testament, which is another MC. We just got done wrapping up a Sailor Moon project. So I was part of the production for that. So definitely a whole bunch of jams and vibes on there. It's like various different individuals are on that project. Other than that, I've just been getting ready for the GGL, the Global Gaming League. That's Clinton Sparks and T-Pain's league. I've been getting ready for that. The draft should be happening pretty soon. So I'm just, just been playing and preparing for it. Because I used to play semi-pro back in Halo 2 and 3 days in 2008, 2009.
Is that why you've been playing a lot of Halo? I was curious because I've been seeing like your Halo streams lately. And I'm just like, I haven't seen people playing Halo in a while, so that's why I was just like,
it was that, and then for some reason I don't know what it is on Twitch. No matter how many times I change it, I won't be playing it. It'll say I'm playing it. Like,
so Twitch is kind of just being goofy. Okay.
Like today I was playing Warzone and Marvel Rivals, because there's tournaments for that coming up pretty soon as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're doing all these gaming tournaments too. See, like that's what I'm talking about, man. This man's always on some sort of like side quest and just doing stuff, man. I love it. I love to see it.
Yeah. Other than that, been doing some, some voice work too. I've been doing people's themes and music for games and various. I mean, it's always a never-ending cycle for things like me for that kind of thing. Which is why I feel that Nerdivation will be something that gives that foundation for someone.
Of course.
So that way they know that somebody could do something. It doesn't mean that I have to have 100,000 subscribers for it.
True. And that's what I love.
You know what I mean? Like just a couple hours ago, I forgot. Recently I just did a character in a rap for somebody's board game for a Kickstarter.
Oh, really?
Like literally do a rap song, like me and Mega Ran are on there, and even Crush 40 is on the album.
Oh,
that
damn.
does the Sonic stuff. So, what I mean? Like I said, the possibilities are endless for these kind of situations. And that's why I want to make sure everybody knows is that, yes, there is a grind for the YouTube stuff, and there is, yes, but it doesn't always 100% have to be just
absolutely.
Yeah. And then when I make that platform, I just want to let people know that particular ability. I chill. I don't say a lot about things. When I do say them as announcements, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not about, saying, oh, I'm flexing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's to remind me that I'm still moving forward.
Absolutely.
And if it needs to be that inspiration to somebody else that could take that, going from there. Kind of like This Is America by Childish Gambino. He's not going to tell you what the full premise of the video is, but what you interpret it is and what you take from it, it's what's the most important thing.
True.
And that's what for the Mark Cooper Monday stream. It doesn't mean that what advice I give this person about their song will be great, profound advice for somebody else that's just watching it.
True.
So it's about giving the advice that's general enough that everybody can be able to benefit from it. And then if I'm talking to somebody directly, they know I'm doing that. I give different advice based on what I hear from them, and I know where they are in the journey. True. Like, you know what I mean? Shinky last year was Mr. Mark Cooper Monday for me. He's going to get a little bit more harsher critiques when I come to things.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to be like, okay, so what are you going to do now? Like, you already know this song is a bop. What are you going to do? And they'd be like, well, yeah, I didn't really think about it. Like, I know. And that's, you got to figure it out.
I was going to say, that's something that you got to think about. Yeah, I feel that. And and that's, like I said, that's just one thing that I like about you is just like, your eagerness and willingness to try to help everybody while also, like, you might be helping this one person. You're helping everybody at the same time. Right. So big respect to you. I want to make sure that you know that you're very respected and loved within this community, and you're very appreciated within this community as well. And to piggyback onto some of the stuff that Mark Cooper is doing is, I might be working on a little something too behind the scenes that you might see Mark Cooper on in the near future. So stay tuned. Something for my end of things that I have Mark Cooper a part of. So make sure you stay tuned to that. Details dropping very, very soon. I could finally start bringing it up. But yeah, just like I said, check out Mark Cooper. All the streams. It's Mark Cooper on almost all the platforms, I'm assuming.
On all the platforms.
On all the platforms. Sorry. Check stream his music. All platforms. I'm going to assume all platforms. And just go support him. Go show support to Nerdivation, because this is such a good thing for the community, and I want to see it continue to grow and thrive. And to be able to do that, it needs the support. It needs the love. So make sure you guys are showing love to everybody who's a part of that, because it'll only do help the community in the long run. So shout out to Mark Cooper again. I appreciate you, Chief, for hopping in here for a good hour, and we just chatted and BS for a little bit. And maybe potentially we can have another one after Nerdivation happens or whatever, and we could talk about the progress and stuff like that. So shout out to Mark Cooper, and shout out to all you guys who made it this far. Mark, I made this like a very recent thing. Give the people at home a random word if they made it this far into the end of the thing, that they type into the comments, and we'll see who made it this far into the Peep Lounge. A random word.
Poise.
Everybody, okay, I'll put it up on the screen because I know some people probably won't be able to spell it.
If you want to pick a different word. No.
We'll use the word poise. Poise in the chat, or you know what? Sound it out. You guys, I'll understand what you guys are talking about. But use the word poise in the comments. If you made it this far, we'll know you made it this far, and I'll make sure to show love to the comment. I'll show love to the comments regardless, but I'll show extra love to the people who use the word poise. But again, shout out Mark Cooper. Shout out to all you guys. Make sure you guys go show love to Mark Cooper. And with that being said, as always, I appreciate you guys for checking out the Peep Lounge. Make sure you guys stay safe. Take care of yourself. Tell a loved one that you love them, because at the end of the day, you just never know. And I shall see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Every time you drink, I do more weight. I don't know a thing, but you're always missing. Every time you touch, make my heart beat different. Say our love is done, I can tell it isn't. Baby, flip the page, this is just a beginning. Yeah, beginning, baby. Heaven's not so far away, but I'll take you to the gates. I know you're scared to fall, but that's the only way. Baby, put your faith in me, and I promise that you'll see. Baby, put your woman's eyes. Oh, let me show you what it feels like.